Welcome back to Ed Says here on the Talk of Connecticut. Joining us now is communication skills analyst Jim Whidden, on to talk about the need for millennials to discover old school skills. Good morning, Jim. How are you?
Hi, Ed. Great to be with you.
This is a great topic for those of you who might have millennial children, or maybe those of you that work for me who are millennials who seem to have a hard time shoring up your skills needed for this job. Maybe we can give them some advice for their next career. Right, Jim?
Absolutely.
I'm specifically referring to my producer there. When you talk about millennials, they are considered to be the more tech-savvy generation. They were born into it, whereas Gen X was born with it. And, of course, the older folks just had to learn it as they went. What is this idea of old-school skills that millennials are lacking?
Well, you know, I'm a boomer, and I have 4 millennials. So I decided to write a book called The Old School Advantage that addresses these issues mainly for my kids, and now it's available for all. But, we live in a generation that's supposedly the most connected, but we seem to be the most disconnected. So it's ironic. At least on a personal level, we seem to be very disconnected. I call it the age of distraction because of the tyranny of these rectangles that are surrounding us. I've got 4 surrounding me even as I talk to you. So it's not really the technology being used that is the problem. It's the overuse and the abuse of it that is creating the issues.
You know, I saw that the other day. My family got together, my wife, my son, and my parents at their house for the Super Bowl. And my mom was making something, and my son was playing with his toys. But my wife, my father, and I were all nose deep in our screens, and I was like, "Why? We're here to see each other. Shouldn't we spend some time with that?" And what you're saying is that millennials are missing out on other skills because of the time spent in the screen?
Well, I don't think there's any question about it. You know, when you go to your screen, studies have shown that it takes about 8 minutes to get back to the concentration level you were at. If you're in a conversation, for example, that's a long time. If you do the math on that, if you have 8 distractions an hour, you really accomplished nothing in that hour. And so it's very important to be able to focus on one thing or the other. The problem is we're mixing those and we're not getting as much done, and our relationships are suffering as well, in my opinion.
And what are these soft skills that people are talking about?
Well, let me give you a few of them. One we call ready recall. That just simply means being able to remember a short-term list of items. So instead of needing notes or PowerPoint, if you can memorize things very short-term, then you can look into the eyes of your audience, whether that's an audience of 1 or 1,000. Another one is what we call creating words that wow, which, first of all, you have to scrub your vocabulary of those words such as like and awesome and so, and replace them. How about this instead of awesome? How about saying exceptional or extraordinary? Another one is asking great questions. People know who you are more by the questions you ask than the statements you make. That's very old school, but that's quite overlooked today. And then a 4th one would be storytelling, being able to tell a story, whether it's a 30-second story or a 15-minute story, that is sticky so that people can remember it and it can make an impact on them. If you can become a master storyteller in this day and time, you're going to write your own ticket.
And is it texting that is removed? Because a lot of that there is communication. Those are all just important to have. Since I'm a mass comm major, I actually learned some of those things. My degree is coming in handy for once.
There you go.
But it's all communication. And is it texting that has removed that? The reliance on emoticons and writing things out in shorthand rather than actually just picking up the phone and talking to someone, even if you're not face-to-face. That verbal, you can communicate so much more like we are right now. I can't see you, but we can communicate through our intonations and our speed and the words we use.
You can think of it. We've developed what is called a scale of interpersonal connectedness. And I don't know if that's a real word, but I made it up, so it is now. But the scale starts at the bottom with a text message, so let's give it a score of 1. Then it moves to an email, say a score of 3 from 1 to 10, because you can expand and send many more characters, obviously, more efficiently, and you can send it to many more people more efficiently. And then you arrive at what we're doing right now, and that is a personal phone conversation where you can hear intonation and pauses and volumes. It then moves into a face-to-face, which would be best for us if we had that interview opportunity. And then, believe it or not, I put a handwritten note in your own handwriting above a face-to-face only because it can be revisited, and it's so unique. So that is kind of what you're talking about. How do we connect? The text message is the worst way.
That's interesting. And just so you know, connectedness is a word.
All right.
I looked it up for you. Is there a quick test that I can, say, give my millennial producer to see where his skills are? Is there any way I can measure him, not right now, but maybe off the air, as a way to improve these old school skills for him?
You know, it's really about wisdom, Ed. It's not so much about information anymore. We're drowning in information, but what we need is discernment and wisdom. And I actually did develop, in the book I mentioned, The Old School Advantage, a wisdom quotient. And there's a formula in there that you can go and see, and that might be a good start for you to assess the wisdom of your millennials, which I think is a great road to go down, because if the wiser they are, the more successful they will be, and henceforth it's going to help you become more successful as well. Communication skills analyst Jim Whidden. Give me the info on that book one more time, sir. Yes, the title is The Old School Advantage, and you can go to theoldschooladvantage.com. Our main website is linked there as well, and the book is available wherever books are sold. Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you. 888-574-2723, the number into the studio. Anything you want to talk about? We were talking about protests, white supremacy. We'll also look at the DeVos problem and Trump's lies. As he says, attacks were ignored by the media. Christian, I need you tomorrow. We'll have a meeting, say at 3. We'll go 3 to 6. Oh boy! And I'll go to that website and we'll come up with the whole thing. How does that sound?
That sounds just dandy.
At least you didn't
Fantastic.
say. At least you didn't say like. That would have set me off the deep end.
Oh God, no.
We'll be right back.